staff members. So let me actually stop sharing so we can all see each other's faces. And uh, we'll just start from number one. The first council district representative is Nicole Smoot. So Nicole, why don't you go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Nicole. I live in the Woodbridge Valley area of Catonsville. I'm a senior paralegal at a family law firm. I've been living in Baltimore County 54 years. That's about it with me.
Okay. Our second council district representative is Sheila Lewis. Ms. Lewis?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sheila Lewis. I'm a resident of Pikesville, been living in Pikesville since the early 70s, and I am retired. I had two careers. I worked for the federal government for 32 years, and then I worked for Baltimore City Community College and Kennedy Krieger Institute. In my first career, I was a senior staff analyst for the Social Commissioner for Disability and International Operations. And at Kennedy Krieger and at BCCC, I was an adjunct instructor in adult education and life skills. And currently, I continue to work on a volunteer basis with various functions and organizations in the Liberty Road and Pikesville area.
All right. Our third council district representative is Eric Rockel.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Eric Rockel here. I'm retired, a longtime resident of Lutherville. Before I retired, I worked for both Baltimore County government and the Maryland State Highway Administration. It's a pleasure to serve on this panel, and I look forward to the work we're about to embark on.
All right. Our fourth council district representative is, well, they haven't been appointed yet, but I know that the fourth district councilman is working very hard and might actually have somebody. They just, we need to confirm that. So they couldn't make it for today. Our fifth council district representative is John Cluster.
Good evening, everybody. My name is John Cluster. I live in the Middle River area of Baltimore County. Currently a member of the Maryland Parole Commission. I've been doing that about 8 years now, appointed by Governor Hogan. Before that, I was a 10-year member of the Maryland House of Delegates, representing the Parkville Perry Hall area. And prior to that, I was in the Baltimore County Police Department, where I retired.
All right. And our sixth council district representative is Al Harris. Oh, Mr. Harris was actually on the phone with me and Chris trying to get on. It looks like he is still having trouble. So we will circle back to him. So our seventh council district representative is Ed Kramer.
My name's Edward Kramer. Live in the Middle River area for about 40 years. Worked with the Essex Middle River Civic Council on the board, vice president there, the Middle River Roundtable, and at my community association in Hawthorne for 30 some years.
All right. Well, that if Mr. Harris is able to jump, whenever he's able to jump on, we'll come back to him. But I know I work very closely with all the council members, in trying to find great candidates, and I know that you guys, you're going to represent your districts very well. So I want to move on to the second group, our subject matter experts. It looks The first actually is the county executive's representative, Keith Dorsey, but it looks like he is also still having trouble getting on. Yeah, so we'll circle back to him once he's able to sign on. So we'll go down to Emily Brophy, our planning board representative.
I'm having audio issues.
There you go.
I'm hoping you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I apologize if there's an echo or anything. I have to dial in from my phone to hear you guys. For some reason, my laptop audio is not working. So I'm about a 18-year resident in Baltimore County. I live in Owings Mills, District 4 area. I've been a planning board member since January of this year. I'm also on the Baltimore County Tourism Commission. And then my day job is I run a small professional services firm. We focus on accounting and tax services as well as commercial real estate.
I think when you have an echo like that, while you're speaking, if you turn down your speakers on your computer, that would eliminate the echo. And then you can just turn this volume right back up when you're done speaking. Okay, so let's move on to Tony Campbell, our political science and government expert who is affiliated with a local college or university.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Dr. Tony Campbell, teach at Towson University, been there for 20 years, teaching American government political theory. Also, vice chair of the Baltimore County School Board Nomination Commission, and been a resident in Baltimore County for 30 years.
All right, excellent. We have our demographics expert, Jeff Mayhew.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Mayhew. I'm excited to be part of this group. I'm currently retired. I've had 2 careers, one with state government at MDOT and one with the Baltimore County Department of Planning. So I'm familiar with many of your neighborhoods and some of the processes associated with county government. Thank you.
Excellent. And I see Mr. Dorsey was able to jump on. So to round out our expert panel, the county executive representative, Keith Dorsey.
I'm Keith Dorsey. I worked and served in the Baltimore County Office of Budget and Finance 37 years. I was director for the last 7 of those years. I've been involved in looking at throughout the county and dealing with various budget issues and work with at times with the council. Elected to the Democratic State Central Committee in 1982. They made me the first Black elected to anything in Baltimore County. And then I worked with groups during the 2000 and 2010 redistricting in terms of submitting proposals to various entities, and I'm glad to work with the committee.
Excellent. So now I want to introduce, I've already introduced myself, but I want to introduce your other ex officio staff member, Brad Croner.
Good evening, everyone. Good to see you all. I'm looking forward to working with you all. I'm a legislative officer in the County Executive's Office of Government Affairs. I'm looking forward to working on serving on the work group with you all.
All right. So
Hey, Adam, before you move on,
Yeah.
I just want to say, just in case people are saying, who's that guy up in the corner? My name's Tom Bostwick. I'm the council secretary and legislative counsel to the county council. So I'm just on merely to observe, just because as a council employee, we'll be knee deep in this stuff for the next 4 months. So, and I'm sure Mr. Phillips and Mr. Croner will have tasks for me to do. So, just here to say hello. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, I just want to, again, now that we've all met each other, I just want to say thank you for volunteering for this. I tried to stress to the council members when they, were interviewing candidates, and this is not, a fluffy gig. I'm hoping that we actually do some real work here and some good work, and it's no small feat for you guys to volunteer your time for that. So let me share my screen again, and we'll get started with the presentation. Okay, so we've gone through our introductions. So I want to just briefly, really briefly, go over the requirements in the resolution that created our work group. We have to meet at least once monthly. We're going to be doing research on comparative research on different legislative bodies, both in Maryland and nationwide. Maryland, there's, it's only the small sample of about 24 counties. So, we want to expand a little bit outside of that and see what other places are doing. We're going to be looking at demographic trends. We're also, and this last bit is it's a little bit contingent on what we end up recommending, but we're going to probably towards the tail end be looking at taxpayer costs or the budgetary impact of our recommendations. And there's kind of a catch-all here. Anything that we think is relevant to the big question that we have to answer. We also have to have a public hearing, which I've emailed you all a little bit about, and our report is due March 31st. That is a very tight timeline. I think Brad and I think this is very doable, but if there are concerns throughout while we are going through that you're not sure we can meet our deadlines, we'll be talking about that. All right, so Baltimore County, just, here are some just top line statistics. We're a county of about 854,000. We're the third largest in the county, in the state, sorry, after PG and Montgomery. I didn't put it on here, but the next largest, I believe, is Anne Arundel County, below us. We're also the third largest in terms of land area. And Baltimore County is really unique in the sense that it surrounds a municipality that isn't involved in our county. So Baltimore City and Baltimore County are independent jurisdictions on roughly equal footing in terms of how the state treats us. That is something that's fairly unique. And as we present research to you and go forward, you're going to see that that is something that is a very unique arrangement. Our form of government is executive council, and it's established by a charter that was passed in 1956. Executive council simply means we have a county executive who acts as our president, so to speak, and our legislator as our county council. This is some smaller jurisdictions kind of combine an executive and a council all in one. Some have a form where they don't even have an executive. They have a manager that is hired, almost like an employee of the council. So that is something I wanted to flag for you in terms of structures. And our county council is 7 members. Another unique aspect of Baltimore County is that we have no municipalities, incorporated municipalities. Of course, we all know the towns and cities of the county, Townsend, Catonsville, Randallstown, Dundalk and Essex. But an important feature is that they are not incorporated. So, if you go to, say, Annapolis, that's an incorporated city within the county of Anne Arundel. And our operating budget, give or take a few hundred, few million, is around $2.7 billion. So we've got several recommended research areas for you to consider. Council size is configuration, whether the members should be part-time, full-time, redistricting, population-based automatic changes, which in normal parlance is just called an automatic trigger, and budgetary impacts. So as I've said, the council size is 7 members. That is the same number it was when we adopted the charter in 1956.
Wow.
So the biggest question that we have to answer, or that we recommend that you consider as your number one question, is should the size of the council increase, decrease, or stay the same? All 3 of those options ideally should be on the table. I know that a lot of the discussion before this work group has been about simply increasing, but I just want to make sure that we are looking at this with fresh eyes. I'm not saying, and Brad and I are here to help you decide that help you come to whatever conclusion you want to come to. The configuration of the districts, or configuration of the council in general. Baltimore County Council is elected all by district, meaning each one of the council members is a resident of their district and is elected only by the members, the residents of their district. Other municipalities or counties have at-large members. This, you might have heard, the council president of Baltimore City. That is an at-large member who is elected by the entire city, as opposed to just a district. When you look at Maryland in general, there is quite a lot of variation in terms of some that do it the way we do it, where it's all by district. Some have only one at-large member as a council president. Others have multiple at-large, but those at-large members don't really have a formal leadership role. Like I said, it's actually quite varied in how the different councils work. So just like with the number, I'm hoping that we can look at this with fresh eyes and say, what is actually the best thing for the county council. This is actually part-time versus full-time is actually somewhat of a more narrow question. Currently, county council members are considered part-time. Their pay is based on part-time. It's been kind of an historic part-time status. Many council members throughout the years have juggled their time on the council with a day job, so to speak. And some of the council members today do have other jobs. Now, they have been part-time since the formation of the county council, but that's not to say that it needs to remain that way. Other county councils, notably PG and Montgomery, both are formally stated as full-time. My hope is that we can actually dig into, some of the research of, what the difference is, what benefits or drawbacks there might be to having part-time versus full-time, and whether the responsibility and role of a county council member dictates whether it needs to be full-time or part-time. The last bit about implementation, I mentioned Montgomery and PG. I mentioned Montgomery and PG County. While they are both full-time, they implement it in different ways. I won't go too far into it, but it's actually a question that I think is worth considering. The next would be the redistricting process. Our current redistricting process is triggered by the decennial census, and this would be considered the normal redistricting cycle. The process is contained in Charter Section 207. And the redistricting process has changed over the years. This is not something that has remained the same since 1956. This has actually changed several times. And it's an issue that I think is worth considering. What are the best practices, and how should we be redistricting for any potential changes for the 2026 election, and if there are any changes we should make to our normal process after the census. This population-based automatic changes, it's a mouthful of a term, but basically it comes down to automatic triggers. The idea here is the question of council expansion or changes to the county council structure is inherently political. And actually it's been a topic that's come up for decades. An automatic trigger would be an addition to the county charter that would take this out of the political realm and change the size of the council based on population. A good example would be, if you have a certain number of council members, and then a provision that says once you hit 1 million residents, you increase the number of council members at the next next normal redistricting process. That way, it's kind of, we're pre-planning for population growth, and of course, the process of understanding how that should be, how an automatic trigger should be set, goes back to the first principles of how many residents, what is there a maximum number we think a county council member can adequately represent, and above that number, it becomes too, the problems become too much for them to address in the way we think they should. So the last bit, like I said before, is budgetary impacts. It's actually, I can't tell you very much about it because we haven't really started formulating recommendations yet. But it's something that I think as we go on, we hit, in late January into February, we'll probably start bringing up, facts and figures, comparable, historical budgets of maybe the county council or, other counties. It's just something I wanted to flag for you. So in addition to the research and kind of the big questions, we are tasked with holding at least one public hearing. But I want to stress that it's at least one. Brad and I have a recommendation that we need to have enough public hearings so that you have a representative sample of the public input. We think the best way to do this is just kind of break up the county into regions, west, central, east. That way you're not missing any of the large population areas. And in terms of timing, we don't think it's, as we'll get to, December is a really hard month to do anything like this. Early January is also a little hard because people are still kind of sluggish from Christmas and New Year's. So our recommendation is start maybe late January and try and end them in early March. In terms of the ending of public hearings, you don't want them to be butting up against the finalization of your report and recommendation. You want to have enough time in between so that you can digest what the public input is and incorporate that into the report. So, okay, that wasn't bad. So let me actually stop sharing my screen real quick. So that's kind of the recommendations that Brad and I have in terms of kind of the scope of your work. Before we move on to kind of the scheduling part of the meeting, I want to open the floor up, see if anyone has any questions, comments so far, anything.
Adam, this is Edward
Hello?
Kramer.
Yeah, this is Albert Harris, and I have to get to this meeting by phone, but I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
When you stated the scheduling and public hearing, that almost runs right into the mandate of the General Assembly meeting, doesn't it? So there'd be issues that are sent to the state legislator that we would still have to work on or have to hear about before we could actually bring up a public hearing.
I think we don't need permission from. I'm not 100% sure what you mean, but we do not need express permission from the General Assembly to hold public hearings. We can hold public hearings in the same way that the county council can hold a public hearing.
Right.
Our authority to do that comes from the county council.
No, I guess what I'm actually getting to is that there'll be laws that are being sent to the General Assembly.
I think I understand what you're saying. If this work group does make any recommended changes, the changes would not be to state law. They would be to the county code and the county charter. Mm-hmm. So some counties, especially small ones, the nomenclature is commission counties. Some of them do need express permission from the General Assembly to do kind of what we're talking about. We are a charter county, and because we have a charter, we actually have greater flexibility and greater autonomy than some of those smaller commission counties. So we don't actually need, and it's split about half. So like the larger half of the counties are all mostly charter counties, and all the smaller half are the commission counties. So we don't actually need permission from the General Assembly to make any of these changes. these would be only changes, they'd only be recommended to the county council and then passed by the county council.
All right.
The General Assembly
Okay.
doesn't need to be involved because we have our charter.
Well, thanks for
Um,
clearing that up then.
Sure. So I see.
I'm sorry to
Go ahead.
interrupt. I just wanted to inform you, as Mr. Harris said, he is on by phone, which means I have to keep him unmuted through the entire meeting, so that he's able to speak, because I'm not going to know when he needs to speak. So in order, I'm just going to have to leave him unmuted, just to let you know.
Okay.
Okay?
Tony, I do see that you had your hand raised, but I think Ed started speaking right around the same time as
Tony can go.
Mr. Harris. Okay. So, Tony?
So my question, Adam, is process. So you mentioned we write a report. It's the recommendation to the county council. County council will vote either to approve or disapprove. Then does it go to a referendum after that, as far as the voters?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. So there is another step.
Yes. So, in terms of our big question, should there be a change to the structure of the county council? That has to be, if we do recommend changes, that has to be done to the county charter. There's only two ways to change the charter. One is that the county council passes a bill. They have to pass the bill by a 5-vote majority. Normally, every other bill is a 4-vote majority. So this one has to be a 5-vote. If that bill passes by 5, it gets put on the ballot as a question for the voters, who have to approve it by a majority, a simple majority for the voters. The other way is a direct ballot referendum, which, of course, they could take our recommendations, but it would involve the county council. And the ballot referendum involves collecting signatures and certifying those signatures. It's a longer process, but generally doesn't involve the elected branches.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Kramer?
Yeah, well, something I did want to add in there that possibly to look at for this would be term. Is there going to be? I know it's going to be brought up because people have already asked me. Term limits.
So it's a good question. I think, and this is my personal opinion, I think term limits are like right outside the line of what we should be looking at. Part of that has to do with timing. I mean, we functionally have about 4 months, because we're now entering into December. But once we really start rolling in terms of, presenting you with research and maybe actually discussing, comparative locations, we're only looking at 3 months to get through things. I'm just not sure if we can do it all.
I'm just bringing it up because it's something that's been brought up to me multiple times already from people going to meetings and things of that nature, and I've heard it a lot. So it's allowed to be brought up in the town meetings per se, or whatever you want to call them. But I just figured I'd put it out there because it's something that that's going to be asked of us.
Okay, well, that's a good point. Flagging what we're likely to hear in public hearings. And I'll make a note of it and we'll take we'll see what the group thinks once we get rolling. I think Ms. Lewis, did you have your hand raised?
Yes. Thank you. Given that you guys have thought it out based on what we have to do, you gave me some idea of when it's due, often you have to meet. How long do you anticipate each session that we meet to be?
I'm hoping that our meetings are about an hour, maybe an hour and 15. I speaking from experience of sitting in council meetings, and I know quite a few of you have the same experience. Once you get past 90 minutes, there's diminishing returns. So I'm hoping that we can do things. We can give you packets of material to review beforehand. We can do a lot of that work through email. That way, when we actually get together, we're reviewing information and actually seeing what everyone thinks, rather than kind of having a first blush, first view of things. So
I do anticipate that will be part of the process, given the complexity of the problem and the scope, that none of this could be just handled because we will not be working full time. However, given that that information is going to be provided ahead of time, an hour and a half, 90 minutes seems very small for if we are looking at this information and we're coming back and to discuss it and then to make a decision on which path we're going to go for out of, let's say, 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 6 options. That means if we're talking about 90 minutes, we're talking about a lot of meetings, as opposed to if we were talking about more time per meeting session, it will be less times that we would have to get together to do this. But I will go with what you said, 90 minutes, and we will see how things go. Because given the complexity and all the information, even if we come back with, I have this question, I have this question, I have this question, one topic can take up 45 minutes. But I will go with the 90 minutes for now. But if it's a choice between more time with a break or something in order to get more accomplished, to limit the number of times that we actually have to come in and set aside time to come in and meet, I'll go with that. But all right.
That's a really fair point. And to be honest, I'm Brad and I are here to help you guys. If the group would rather, we do have to meet at least once a month. If the group would rather stick to the once a month but make it a fairly long meeting, try and actually reserve several hours, or simply make each meeting longer. That Brad and I are here to serve you, with whichever way you want to go in terms of structuring this work group. That 90 minutes was by no means supposed to be a limit. It was just kind of this has been my experience of what has kind of worked before. But hey, this is an important topic. So if we need to go longer, that's fine with me. I think Mr. Dorsey, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, in terms of 2 other items that may come up in our discussion or analysis. One is, from what I understand, the lawsuit by the NAAC versus the county has not been settled. And one of the items on that was the issue of minority representation, even to the extent of perhaps increasing the number of districts to accomplish that. That dovetails right into our discussions. And then two, you mentioned in terms of the issue of ballot initiatives, that there is an active ballot initiative for 4 more districts. Also, I think those two will in some ways come into our discussion.
Absolutely. I do think, we can't ignore the obvious. And I was actually, redistricting is kind of its own topic that, I don't want to delve too deeply into in this inaugural meeting, but yeah, during our previous normal cycle redistricting, the county council was sued by the NAACP for a Voting Rights Act violation. The map that we passed originally, the first map, was enjoined by the federal district court, and the district court judge required us to redraw it with a I forget the exact wording, but it's substantially greater minority population in one district. We withdrew. We drew a second map, passed it, and the judge allowed that map, that second map, to move forward. I can go into a lot of specifics.
That second map,
but I don't
process,
necessarily.
it was stayed, and so there's another hearing on that motion in January. So it's still an active issue out there. They allowed, it was decided to allow the process to move forward with the second map just to accommodate the election. However, it's not a settled issue.
Right.
And that, that's a good point. I do. It's worth noting that, well, you know what? I don't want to delve too deeply into it right now. We're gonna have plenty of time to get into this. But I want this group to hopefully focus not necessarily on the lines. In fact, I think that based on a lot of the recent Supreme Court precedent, I really don't know if we as a commission or a work group should be drawing the lines. But I want the group to hopefully focus on the process that culminates in those lines being drawn. Look, I worked for the council during that lawsuit, and I think it is absolutely worthy of your time to think about the process and to see what kind of reforms there can be. I've heard it said that process is policy. Outcomes can be changed. The process dictates sometimes the outcome that you get, and that's one of the reasons why I think it's important enough to be a main topic of discussion. Okay. So in the interest of time, I want to move on to the scheduling portion. So there's kind of a foundational question here. We have to meet once in December. Should we meet twice? One of those, at least one of the meetings we have in December really should be in person. I think, from work groups that I've been involved with in the past, in person really makes a huge difference, especially when you have a group about as big as us. So I also just wanted to have everyone take a. With that said, there's really only a couple of dates where everyone can meet. From my estimation, December 11th really is the only one where all 11 members can be there. That's during, that wouldn't put us, say, on like a Friday evening or the weekend or something. So my recommendation is December 11th, unless anyone has a big conflict. And then if we want to do a second meeting, it looks like at least one person will be absent, which is not the end of the world. It's kind of just, it's kind of just December for you. So let me see. Did anyone have a problem with December 11th?
I don't have a problem with the 11th, but that second date is what I'm looking at. And that seemed like to me it should be around the 28th.
Can we, as Ms. Lewis pointed out, on that December 11th one, make it a long meeting, a little longer, so we can get as much done as we can, so we don't have to meet a second time in December?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point for December.
Okay.
I mean, does anyone, after looking at that schedule, I kind of think that's a decent
Adam?
idea.
Also, I just want to let you know, I noticed you had the 13th in December for my name on there. That's open now. So even if the 11th or the 13th,
Oh,
I can make the 13th because it's in the middle of the week. I know sometimes weekends people have a difficult time on Mondays. I don't know what type of work everyone does, but I mean, I can make either day. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just putting that out there. That's all.
Okay.
Adam, Ms.
Yep.
Smoot, Ms. Smoot put in the chat that she is not available on December 11th.
I'm having a procedure done on the 11th, and I will be out for probably 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, I'm not sure yet, but I know December 11th, that week, I don't know what I'm facing.
We can, this is actually something I forgot to mention. The meetings, if we meet in person, it's going to be in Towson, either in the council chambers or in, there's a slightly larger meeting room on the first floor. Both of them have the capability.
I hate to interrupt you, but you're a tech person.
Yeah.
These are webinars, and if they were in person, everyone would have to bring their own device in. We would be better off having it in the chambers where we have all the technology there. Just pointing that out to you.
Yeah, you're right.
But the members who can't may not be able to, like as Ms. Smoot, she can join virtually in that room if we use the chambers, and then those who are coming in person, so we could have it hybrid.
So I guess, yeah, so the point I was trying to make is that if someone is unavailable for the meeting, we do have the ability in the council chambers to have you present virtually.
Okay.
So I guess.
My procedure is actually on the 11th, so I don't know how I feel that day.
So you won't,
I don't know.
yeah. How does everyone feel about the 13th? Anyone have an objection to the 13th?
What times are we talking about?
5:30 or 6.
So all these meetings will be in the evening. So if we have a later meeting starting at 5 or at 6 o'clock, we'll be talking about leaving later in the night. We can't schedule any like mid-afternoon or earlier meetings. So a day we're not there until 9 or 10 o'clock at night getting home.
Unfortunately, several of the work group members do have day jobs that prevent them from being there at earlier than I'd say. I've kind of been gauging the earliest possible, and I'd say, I mean, I think people are stretching it to get to a 4:30 meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So I think realistically 5 or 6, between 5 and 6 is about the earliest we should be doing it.
And if we have an extended meeting, in order to get business completed so that we can go to a January meeting, we're leaving late and night.
Unfortunately, yes. I mean, it's the trade-off for having, highly qualified people, that they're busy. Okay, so I think several people had their hands raised. Not quite sure the order, but I think we're getting ready to nail down the 13th as at least the in-person December meeting. If anyone has an objection, speak up now. All right. So we're going to do the 13th. Is 5 o'clock okay? Any objections? Speak up now.
I guess it would be, because I'm sure there'll be activities going on at the county up until that time anyhow.
Yeah, I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but I do. Brad and I both do have day jobs. I mean, so I think we don't want that to interfere with the work group. So.
Yeah. I'd rather have it at 6.
At 6? Anyone? Tony, could you maybe do 5:30? Or
Yeah, I'd probably do 5:30. I work in the city, so there's no way I can leave here at 5 and be somewhere at 5.
Yeah, no, I totally. I used to do that commute. Well, let's say 5:30. My guess is that the first 5 to 10 minutes is going to be a little bit of in-person just introductions anyway. So I think you'll have time to get here. So December 13th at 5:30. Okay. So is there any appetite for a second meeting?
So quick question, Adam, are you sending research ahead of time before these for us to review? Because obviously we're going to be work sessioning and talking based on, surrounding counties, information and that type of stuff. So it's more just, like you said, I think we could probably get some stuff done by email if we're meant to review things. And then I don't know if we want to tentatively put a second December date, but maybe it's not necessary, but just get it on everybody's calendars because everybody's schedules are so tight.
I think so. I'll take the questions in order. Yes, the plan for Brad and I is to kind of give you a packet before each meeting with with the relevant topics and research that we're hopefully going to talk about at that meeting. the plan is hopefully that you all can review that ahead of time. You don't, so, you know, everyone's coming in and actually can talk about it, and, you know, we can actually try and come to a, you know, actually have a true discussion without a lot of presentation. But, you know, if the group feels that they need a little bit more presentation, we're happy to do that as well. It's, you know, we're here to serve you guys. If it's okay with the group, I think maybe a tentative December 28th meeting, which we can firm up on the 13th.
I'm willing to live with that.
Okay.
I'm willing to live with tentative based on what we do on the 13th. So we all have to see whether we need it or not.
Okay.
And
that sounds good to me.
And leave the option that we can do it virtually if we need to.
Exactly. That's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to have our first meeting virtually. I wanted to get everyone comfortable. You know, I've heard that this is an El Nino year, and the last strong El Nino year was Snowmageddon. So I think having everyone comfortable with virtual will be a big benefit.
Yeah, if I can never get in.
It gets easier.
I have another question. If our meeting coming up on the 13th, get my dates straight, we're going to be listening to some of the demographics and that type of data. Will we have the opportunity to send you the kind of information we're interested in, and that way we'll see it there at that meeting?
Yes, absolutely. That's actually one of the closing things that I was going to ask for. I know that, you know, talking to the council members, I know that a lot of you have prior experience, you know, delving into these issues, have, you know, worked on different, you know, campaigns on these issues, and, you know, you're not coming in blind, so to speak. So I would like you to, you know, send me what you have. You know, if you have research that you want Brad and I to consider, you know, for dissemination, you know, send it to me. If you have topics, you know, you're looking for specific information on, let me know, and, you know, we can delve into it. You know, this December 13th meeting is, I have a general idea of what I want to give you guys, but I'd love your specific input. Yeah.
So December 13th, see if I have this right. That's going to be, since we've done the introductions and we've broken the ice a little bit, we're going to be generally receiving, which we will hopefully get as much ahead of time as possible, some demographic data, maybe some answer to some specific questions if we have that. Then we will be discussing the answers that we received there. Is that correct?
Yes,
okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't want to pick a January date, but I do just want to get you guys thinking about January. We can talk about it more on the 13th. The last slide that I included just showed you, and I know I sent it to you guys ahead of time, so you have it in email form. Brad and I cannot do meetings on legislative or work session days for the county council, and it's a practical reason. They're using the council chambers, and therefore we can't use that space. So it's just, you know, think about your calendar, see what works, what doesn't, and if you already have dates that don't, go ahead and for January, go ahead and email them to me, and I'll start working on that calendar.
Adam,
Yes.
um,
Yeah.
will we know by the 13th who the 4th district representative is?
I think so. Informally, he did say that he had asked somebody and was, he had someone in mind, interviewed and asked, and they were checking, their calendars to see if they had enough time to put towards it. I don't want to tell you more than that because, I don't want to speak for him. But he is in process. I can tell you that.
Okay.
Well, unless anyone has any additional questions or thoughts.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
When you sent out this presentation, it was very informative and helped to, focus thoughts and ideas, formulate strategies. This, could you send them out on separate pages in the future? You sent them out like the presentation from the thing.
Yeah, if you'd like, I can send you it. I can send you the actual PowerPoint.
That'd be great because
Okay, yeah.
I like to. It was it's helpful to put notes. And it's along with everything on one page. It doesn't work as well, but I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I can do that definitely. Okay. Well, I want to say again, thank you guys. We're going to be doing, some good work in the next few months, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
Great.
Thank you.
We appreciate your help and support and guidance.
Thank you.
All right. Everyone have a good evening.
Same here. Bye bye.
Good evening, everyone.